All right. YouTube, back with another episode 6 of How Did I Get Life. Got another amazing story here. This is the platform. This is a show of showing lifers and ex-lifers what they've been doing with their second chances since coming home, and a lot of them, most of them has been doing great things and working with society and helping, back with their families and just being better people, in society again. So I like to put the highlights on people doing great things who society said was never worthy of being back on these streets again. So, just to show you how people can be wrong. So, with that being said, I'm Stacey Taylor, the host of the show. Got an amazing guest here, a good partner of mine. We walked off a couple of years together in a couple of different prisons together. You know what I'm saying? I always been great. A1. Let them know who he is, my brother.
They call me Rollo, a.k.a. My real name is Risala Afia Rose Aminifu. It's all Swahili.
Yeah.
Born with it.
Born with it.
You're born with it.
Okay.
That
sounds like one of them names a motherfucker pick up in prison. Become a Muslim.
Fortunately, I was born with that,
Without
so I would meet homies in the pen that was really with that.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, that's your real name?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I was born with that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ra is my real, but they call me Rollo, though.
Yeah.
Up out of the Dana area.
So tell us a little bit about you, man. Where you grew up at?
Man, I grew up out of the Dana area, Altadena, Pasadena, man. My whole life, born and raised.
Yeah.
Mother and father was out that way. And went to jail young, man.
So how was your family dynamic, though? I mean, you, your brothers, sisters. How did that work?
So I'm in the middle. It's funny, man. I'm in the middle of. I got an older brother, older sister, younger brother, younger sister.
Okay.
Me and my older brother got the same mother and father.
Okay.
My mother and father was together. Never was married. For me and my brother. My older sister, she got a different mother. My younger sister, she got a different father. We got the same mother, and I got a younger brother on my dad's side, and so man, it was nice, man. I'm middle class,
Yeah,
but
definitely out there. I was in the past. That was good.
We
good area
we
back
was middle
then.
class, man. And I didn't need to be thugging, man. But I grew up in, I'm a product of the '80s.
Yeah.
And I grew up in that fast money time, man, and those was our heroes, know. So as you said earlier in the other podcast, we was looking up to that in the inner city, and I remember trying to hustle and sell dope, young, and that was my catalyst, my introduction to the streets. Didn't need to be, but got introduced to the fast money early and was like, man, I don't never want no job.
Let me take it back a little bit. So at what age, let's start with the dynamic. What was going on in the family household?
So mother and father, to my knowledge, had never
that led you to this.
So I think it was the dynamics of my family was my mother and father separated when I was maybe right before I was 1 year old. Okay. My mother got an accident in the hood, right there in Pasadena, right there by La Pinnaresca Park. And damn near died. Her and my brother. Damn near died. Damn near, she didn't die.
Yeah.
Her and my brother. And nothing happened to me miraculously. But wow. Yeah, it's a trip. My mother had a crushed jaw, bruised brain. My brother was in a Volkswagen Bug. Back then, it was in the 70s. Yeah. This was 73.
Yeah.
74.
Yeah.
And long story short, my pops kind of raised me and my and my grandmother.
Okay.
And his mother. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I had a kind of sheltered life, but still, it was good out there, like you said, in Dana. But come 8th grade.
Yeah.
I'm seeing these dope dealers, and I got an older brother that's 4 years older than me.
Okay.
And I just want to be like him. He was playing sports. We played sports. We was athletes. We was like D-boy athletes, I could say.
Yeah. So what age did it go from like just doing adolescent things to crossing over to crime? What age was you at that time?
Man, you know what? I was always infatuated with boosting, man. So I think the boosting thing led me. Didn't need to ever be stealing, but boosting and taking And then I never been jacked, but a couple of homies that was serving got jacked. So, you know, instead of never wanting to be jacked, I started saying, well, you know, you know, I was introduced to pistols at a young age because when you in the streets, the homie, you know, his mom and him was smoking, so I just was introduced to firearms at a young age in the streets, and it went from boosting to jacking. Yeah, kind of early, quick with me.
Quick. But how old was you then when that happened?
I was like 8th grade.
Okay.
So I'm like 15.
Yeah, 14, 15.
14, 15 up in there.
Yeah.
All my homies is older. My little crew of homies, I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
So my homies, if I'm that age, they almost damn near like 17, 18.
Yeah.
And I'm looking up to these dudes, and at this time, the crack cocaine thing is big in my area.
Yeah. And,
you know, it was like, if you get this and get this money, you know, it was like get the money. So I was young. I was about 8th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
And so one thing led to another, and which I ended up catching the case for the first time in the early 90s.
So you never went to jail before you caught?
Never went to jail a day in my life. I think I got arrested for some grand. I got arrested for some boosting. It was some stealing. I did.
Yeah.
I think a phone or something. That was my only thing. But before this,
but never went to no
never
halls,
no nothing.
None of that.
No, I turned 18 and I got a murder robbery.
18, a murder robbery.
Right.
Wow.
19. A few months shy of my 19th birthday, I catch a murder robbery. Wow. This is in 92. This is in April the 14th of 92. And I able to get arrested a week later. I would get arrested a week later though. Yeah. Actually got away with I didn't get arrested the night of. Got arrested a week later. Yeah. Because I thought I was smart. If I was, you know, I thought I just would stay and like did nothing happen. Yeah. And long story short,
how long you wound up doing?
I ended up doing 3 decades, from 18 to 48.
18.
They gave me life without. I got life without, plus 4 years for enhancement for the firearm.
Now let me just show you how shitty the system, the court system is.
Never had a case. Never had a record.
They gonna give you life without. That means
aiding and abetting.
You never go home, but then they gonna put another 4 years on.
Right.
I'm just saying. Right. Does that make sense? I mean, am I the only one not to, you life without? You ain't never coming home.
Plus 4 years.
Plus 4 years on top. So you got to die and then come back again to do the 4 years just to be able to get out of jail.
So at that time, you had to do the 2 years before you started to do the LWOP sentence. You had to do 2 years before you started the LWOP, which means you ain't never getting out. That was die slow in prison. For a cat that didn't have no record for aiding and abetting to a murder robbery. Aiding and abetting. That means
you wasn't even the killer. You wasn't even do with the gun. Or
no. And eyewitnesses said, no, he just was over there. They said I busted the door. I had a pistol and did some things, but I didn't do that. I didn't do said crime, but I still got that. Which I still had to go to the board and inevitably say, yeah, I was responsible for such and such because, you know, I did this with this group of people. A lot of them no longer here.
Well, see, and see, that's where the growth comes in at, because we used to like to minimize the things that we did. Right. Okay, well, look, I didn't actually do
No.
I was there though. I did, but I didn't do the. So I really had nothing to do with it. No, you had something to do with it. Right. You know, I remember I was in the group, but I was in the group one time. I remember that guy told me, he said, man, you had people murder, you had people snatch purse. I ain't never had nobody do no stuff like that, man. I ain't that kind of person. He said, well, remember when you was selling dope? I said, yeah, I remember selling dope. He said, remember when you told the smoker, hey, I need a TV for the spot, I need some, and it hit me. I said, he right. I don't know how many crimes I facilitated on telling somebody who smoked dope to go out and get something from somebody else that didn't belong to me or them to bring it back to me. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't know what they went and did to go get these things to come bring these things. And when he hit me with that, I said, wow, that's deep. You know, because I used to be like, I sell dope, but they gonna smoke the dope anyway. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I I'm working with him. If anything, you know, I'm gonna give him some good dope. You know what I'm saying? You know, so you just find all your reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you can't. You that minimizing. That's that. And so you. So how long you was in the penitentiary feeling that I had, man? I shouldn't be here for that because I didn't do that. But
You know.
or have you ever got over that yet?
Yeah, I got over it. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
I've been through. I had some culpability early on.
Yes, sir.
I actually set the lick up.
Yes,
It's funny. I set the whole lick up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And involved myself more than I was actually supposed to. I was supposed to let the homies come in and lay everything down, and I try to get myself involved. And so there it is. I armed myself so the people that I went to said they seen me come in the house with a shotgun and do whatever I did, which was true. And you know, that's what I did. But, you know, you live and learn, which was actually a blessing, because if I still would have been on the streets, I probably wouldn't be here to run this interview right now with you. You know, to stomp them yards with you and to go through all that, you know, with you when I met you. And, you know, just.
So what was your wake-up call? I mean, what was, you know, while you was sitting there, it was like, you know, let me stop doing all this goofy shit, you know, let me figure out a way to get myself out of prison.
Coming to Lancaster had never been one, always come. So here it is, I'm from out of the Pasadena area, born and raised. Left with a son that was two, so both my kids are deceased. So my son was
Sorry
2.
To hear that. Sorry to hear that.
My son, my son was 2 when I left. He was born in '89, and my daughter was 9 months. My BM was pregnant. She was 9 months pregnant with my daughter. So my daughter, my daughter was born 7 months after I left. Put it like that. So I never really knew her.
Without a doubt.
I kind of, you know, we kind of knew each other through prison visits. I got a bunch of prison photos, and she came, and we was cool. But anyway, the loss of both of my kids. So my daughter in 2011, because I was actually trying to get to Lancaster. So when I get to Lancaster, when I bump into you over there on D Yard in 2012, she got killed in June 2011. So I bumped into you a little bit after that on the D.
Yeah.
And I was trying to self-medicate, going through that, and I really didn't have nothing until, you know what it was? When they said LWOPs can go to level 3. That's what it was. Okay. I remember. So they said LWOPs can go to level 3. Finally, I had always went on to go to level 3. You know, I was fresh in. So that means I started my whole time at level 4. All I knew was level 4, tie your boots. I've been in all kind of situations everywhere. Been in all different prisons. Tehachapi 4B, Salinas Valley. Well, highest I went was Salinas Valley, B Yard. We got into it to North Daniels, all over the states. Calipat, C Yard, both times, 2 tours. 4B, Tehachapi, Corcoran for about a year, and then Lancaster for the last 9. Yeah. On D Yard, and then got blessed and went to the PPF yard. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah. But that the wake up call was getting to go to A yard. Yeah. That's PPF yard.
That's wake up yard.
So before you got there, no, you was there already. I think.
Right, they kicked me off because I got busted with the phone.
No. You see, I was already over there before I left, and the wake up call was being over there, bumping into my boy Jimmy Gilmer, Jiggs, that was running the education department, and remember leaving the homie at Calipat. And he up at Athens Park area, but he was a different person down in Calipat at the time, because we was up at Tehachapi together, 4B. Yeah. And so now I'm seeing him, and his dad had died, and he had went through a change, and he was like, Rod, listen, kick it here. And I'm seeing the cat stare, and I know everybody from everywhere that's coming through. Yeah. And I'm like, I ain't feeling this, right? Yeah. And I'm looking for a way to actually come back over to D-Yard.
Ain't that something?
Funny how I was on that.
Ain't that something?
I was looking for a way to stop.
There's no problem at.
No, where they walking around in shower shoes and not feeling it, because I'm like, and everybody that in my mind what this prison politics does, what I'm kind of peeling these layers off of just growing up in this stuff. Although I didn't go through the system, I was born and raised in prison. Yeah. So my whole motto was, and I got a stellar record. You meet anybody from anywhere that say my name, they're gonna be like, oh, that's the homie, he's solid. Yeah, I know him. I promise you, if you bump into him. Without a doubt. But I probably was with some of their G homies.
Without a doubt.
And on them yards where it was really active.
When it was active.
and had kisu and speaking Swahili, and I'm really speaking Swahili, and I'm really doing them burpees, and I'm really on them yards, and I really know how to make them things, and I really am a non-affiliate, no matter what they say about the town. But I was raised in that Tupac thug culture. They was talking about I look like the brother, you know what I'm saying? And I try to emulate that and be that and ride that. But my flip was getting to that yard and seeing cats getting degrees. My whole family is getting back to my family nucleus. So my brother's a teacher. My brother worked at Horace Mann. Then he went to he worked at Horace Mann for years. Then he went to Westchester. Now he back at Horace Mann. He's been there for 20 some years. He's one of the best teachers there. So you talk about Horace Mann in the hood. My brother been there, so I know. You know what I'm saying? And my sister's a teacher in Texas. My mother and father was both teachers. So when I got there and the homie was doing education, I said, all right, let me try this out. And I did the coastline thing. But I still, as I'm doing coastline, I'm working in the kitchen. I'm still prison. But I'm doing the coast. I'm doing the right, and I'm getting good.
You get introduced to things that you have never been introduced to before.
Right. And I'm talking to people with different conversations, and we got different, and it's bringing me to different cultures that we really wouldn't talk through the politics.
That's right. We didn't talk to them. That's right.
Nah, but we ain't taking these same classes. I got to talk to them. They done did this before. We helping each other.
And they cool to death.
They cool. I'm
cool
like,
to
wow.
death.
You getting other stories. I'm like, wow, where I been at? Like,
I done
really
sheltered myself away from all
I'm
these.
tripping.
That's right.
And you was one of the main motivators of me too. You don't know it. But Stace, you told me when I bumped into you, because we was on a different light back then. You know, when I was on the self-medicating tide, I was on some wild for a minute, man. You know, I was whatever. I didn't, you know, after my kid, after my little twin passed, I couldn't understand it. And shout out to the dude who I didn't even want to get life to, right? But he locked up. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Hit and run. That's just how it happened. That's just how it happened, right? So that was a thing. Like, God, what I'm doing, man? Like. You know, you feel like you didn't do it, but then you feel like you could have been. So all that was like you needed to be better for your seeds. Feel me? That was my thing. And so I made it happen, man. I started doing classes. I started, self-help classes, anger, AVP, CGA, did all that. And since I had LWAP, I had did so many throughout the years. I had did so many rich. I was fed up with it. Was like I couldn't file no more nothing. Having that LWAP, it was like a slow death sentence. So anybody that had life without the possibility of parole, and being a layman at the courts, I went to the law library, and once I got keen at the law and realized, damn, I'm really kind of things is I'm stuck like a truck in mud, so to speak, as far as my life and how many shots I got at these courts and stuff. At that time, there was a warden named Warden Association at Lancaster, and it was his brother named D'Angelo McVeigh. It was just a trip at that time, man. That PPF yard would never be like that again. That yard, I just got blessed to go there, and the homie that was helped running that was instrumental, and he's out now too, because he came home. I've been out 4 years off parole, got my passport, haven't been accosted by no law, no nothing. Had to, just living life, living a whole different. They wouldn't even believe. Got my bachelor's. They want me to go get back and get my master's degree. I don't want to teach, but that's another story. I got my trucking license, so. But the flip was that to get to go to school and through education in a carceral setting, that helped transform my whole everything,
All right, so you had life without. So how did that work once you because going to groups and all that that'll help you be a better you, but that ain't gonna help you get out them it'll help, but it ain't gonna help directly get you out of there.
So the miracle thing was this. I think 2017, we got word that the then governor, Jerry Edmund Brown, shout out to the governor,
Governor Brown, man.
My savior. It was a warden at the time at Lancaster named Association. Shout out to her too. We had heard about the warden possibly. We had heard about the warden possibly commuting people before they left, he left office, because he was realized that this was his second time being the governor of California, and his first time throughout the Reaganomic era and all that. He was a Jesuit was a Jesuit guy, so he realized that to lock him up, Reaganomic errors wasn't the way to go.
Yeah.
And these prison systems, they bulging. How can we fix it? Because I
That's busting from the seams.
Bulging from the seams from the time I grew
They
up.
had us living in, in gyms and everything. The
Yeah,
gym was
I got locked up April 21st, 1992. That was a week before the LA riot. So I watched that in Medium North.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not knowing what, I'm 18. I never went to jail. So nothing like the
jail.
homie. I don't know nothing about nothing. I get into the Hoomers. They like, how many hooves you got? I'm like, what is that? I don't know about nothing. I'm gang goofy. Come up out of the den. I'm not. I'm a no tip. Feel me? But what I do know is I never rolled up nowhere, no nothing, and nobody never took nothing. I'm squabbled up. So I found out that, like the brother said, that early on, you get down, and then
people respect violence.
Respect the violence.
That's what they respect. Nothing else.
Then you start, you start learning pecking orders and who's what, and then I kind of used that to work my way through the system unscathed, basically for the whole 30 years. Met a lot of people in a lot of different spots and been in a lot of different situations with some solid dudes, met other people from everywhere. Yeah. But when I went to that yard.
So you hit the governor?
Hit the governor, man. The governor commuted me in 2018. I got an interview first.
Okay. So how that works? So
I sent a commutation in. So I sent a commutation in from the governor. And so back in the day, the warden of Socion told us, hey, I heard the governor might consider commuting a lot of people before he leaves office on the second term. This is his last time in office, and he's thinking about doing some commutation, especially of the LWOPs, and especially on this yard. Because the LWOP on that yard at that time was probably about 75% of the yard.
It was heavy.
At that time, it was probably heavy. That yard had about 75% of the yard had LWOP. So it was a lot of us in that yard that was basically stuck that wasn't never, we was stuck.
But the concept of that yard, just to get off into it, some inmates had implemented a program for cats who was, want to get out the way but not be dropouts. You understand what I'm saying? Not no S&Y, nothing like that there. It was a programming yard where when you went to the yard, you just wasn't gangbanging no more. As far as
politics.
No politics. We ain't doing race. This ain't the black bars. This ain't the Mexican bars. This ain't none of that. Right. These are bars for everybody to use in the prison. These tables and benches for everybody to sit and use on. And so it was that kind of. It was being grown. It was a grown folks. It was grown world. It's like coming home.
Right.
It introduces you to coming home because you're gonna have to deal with a lot of different races, and it was cool because, like you say, when I got over there, I got to hanging out with some Asian partners of mine. We was laughing, and you'd be like, man, I would have never hung out with you because you Asian, and I just don't fuck with y'all because I'm a grip, and I've been, stuck on this way of thinking so long. Right. But you motherfuckers is all right now. You better than these motherfuckers.
Y'all cook the food.
They cook the food.
How you make that? It looks like it's coming from the restaurant.
Yeah, come from China. You got.
How you get shit like that, man? How you do that?
That shit is to be screaming.
Fire.
I was like, this motherfucker, this better than PF Chang's. Nigga, this PF Chang's ain't tasting better than shit I had out there. I've been none of that, man. They was throwing down up in there, Jack. That's my best friends. Shit, yes, sir.
So
I
filed a commutation in 2017, I believe.
Yeah.
I filed. And then actually I get an interview. It's funny because I get an interview after I get what they call a write-up in the system. Yeah. So I told you I still was still in some prison, even over there. Yeah. Phone, liquor. So I got a write-up for the liquor. Mm-hmm. And I told, I had to speak towards that at the board too. And that was a blessing that I didn't pour it out because I could have had a chance to pour it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the time, I'm up there with my boy Davenport, Hooper J, and he's telling me, and I'm like, no, Groove, I ain't pouring nothing out. Yeah. Because I'm stuck on the money at the time. I think I'm getting $200 every Friday. But I'm just saying, that's how it was. And I didn't pour it out, which was a blessing, so I get to write up, and when I get the interview, they speak on that. Yeah. And I said, hey, man, I told the interviewer that, hey, I had just lost a child, my daughter, and I was going through that, and that which was my light, but I still had a write up, and he said, "Hey, well, they still interviewed you, man. So, don't have no more after this. I'm gonna tell you that. Yeah. You're gonna mess your chances up if possible commutation." So here it is. Fast forward that to 2018. Christmas Eve, 2018, AR, PPF. I get a call, and I'm by myself because my celly at the time, he transferred out. Down they transferring like LWOPs out to level 2s at this time.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the last ones because I'm in school. I'm still in school. I can't get transferred out because I'm in the Cal State LA program.
Okay.
But I'm about to go home, so I'm kind of like on a pause. So I'm kind of, they let me hang out by myself. And they called me up to the program office. And it's funny because at that time, I'm thinking they called me for a drug test.
Yeah.
Some of the little homies, they stayed up all night.
Yeah.
Wow. They stayed up all night.
Yeah.
And so I asked somebody, what they say? And they said, man, I don't know. They busted the little homies for, I guess they were smoking or whatnot. Ran up in their cell and had a phone. So drug test. It might be a drug test.
Yeah.
So I called myself drinking water because I had been on,
Yeah.
I said, all right. They called him. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a gang of water.
Yeah.
At the time, we doing something stupid, talking about taking these niacin pills. They get you all
Oh,
hot.
Get you hot.
Tingly.
Skin all tingly and shit. Yeah. You think you going crazy.
Taking a gang of milligrams, we ain't supposed to.
We going crazy.
I don't know, but this is some jail folklore. And we doing this stuff. So I'm doing all this, man. I drank about, probably about a gallon of water.
Yeah.
Pissed 2-3 times.
Yeah.
So I finally mob over there. Who do I see? My girl, Miss Williams. Now, she off the east side of L.A.
Sergeant Williams?
Lieutenant Williams now.
Lieutenant
She's Lieutenant Williams.
right.
She about to retire, I think.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
just
Good
had that
peoples.
water. Still. Anyway, she good peoples. And as I'm walking up, I can tell there's a lot of people on the track side. And I walk up, and she screaming at me. And basically, I got commuted that day by the governor.
Wow.
Me and I was part of 100 and some people at that time. I was like the biggest one, our swath, which made me eligible to go to the board in 2019. So when I went to the board that 2019, they didn't find me suitable because I had that write-up. I had a recent write-up. And they wanted to know, hey, man, you've been doing all that, but you got this your daughter passed and this write-up? It didn't match. So they wanted to see if it was real or not.
It was minimizing. You minimized that. You said, hey, I'm still at it, man. I ain't different story.
Right.
But
So
you used the crutch.
I used the crutch.
And they ain't going with that.
They wasn't going for that. And in that 18 months, boy, I tell you though, I was a whole different man. In that 18 months, I didn't want to touch nothing. I was praying for, I didn't want to be around nothing. I didn't do nothing. I took extra classes. I took Criminon. I took and I went back 18 months later and got found suitable, man. That was one of the best days of my life, man.
I bet it was.
I got found suitable. It
After
wasn't
30 years?
After 3 decades. And,
Believing that you was never going home?
And to walk up out of Lancaster, I almost felt like that was like I had.
That was a perfect place to do it.
That was a perfect place to do it. Like I always wanted to come back.
Because
to
without
my
Lancaster,
daughter.
it could have never happened.
And it's funny because one of the last dreams I had before we pulled the plug, she got a hit and run, right? We had to pull the plug after 10 days.
Yeah.
But I had a dream that she called my phone that she should always do in prison because she was about to be 19. That was my ride or die.
Yeah.
I had a dream. She called me like, Dad, I already know you want to know what happened to me. Just calm down. It's gonna be all right. And to walk out of Lancaster, I felt like, damn, like right, So I walked out. April, that was May 4th. May the 4th be with you. So May 4th, what is this? I just celebrated my fourth year, huh?
Without a doubt. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Yeah, it's been good, man. Beat that yard. Like I say, Lancaster prison, that 8 yard was really, because that was the first time for me when I started seeing people go home. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, Lord.
Yeah, it was
This
cold.
nigga got your whole life sentence back. He going home. Okay.
First time
Yeah,
for
them,
me.
I got that because I was hearing about it, and I was like, I gotta get to
seen
Lancaster.
it.
I gotta get to Lancaster.
Never seen it.
When I finally got down there, and man, I started seeing motherfuckers go home. I was like, this nigga had light going on. They letting people go home right here. I ain't just hearing it. He was here today with a life sentence. He's gone tomorrow. I said, man, this the yard here. And I got busted with that phone. They sent me back to DR. I was like, oh, shit. But yeah, that's that Lancaster, man. And it's a lot of people. The cold part about that, half that yard is home now. That's the funny part about that.
And
how everybody helped everybody, man, get out of that joint, man. The Asians, the first time I ever hugged a white boy in my life was White Boy Lee, man. You know what I'm saying? Never hugged a white boy in my life. Never hugged anybody white beard. You know what I'm saying? Hug White Boy Lee, man. White Boy Lee, man. Man, that brother got a big a big reason I'm sitting right here today, man, out of prison was Lee, man. Lee, I mean, I know everybody helped, you know what I mean? Just the whole, but I mean, Lee was really on me. He was like, you know, man, you can't go in up there. You think you slick, don't you? Because, you know, I thought I was slick at the time. So you think, he said, man, they ain't gonna, man, he said, I'll never forget, he said, when the boy asked you about why you had a gun, I'm just gonna tell him. I was protecting myself. He said, oh yeah, you going to jail. You go back to jail. I said, what am I supposed to tell him? He said, go tell him I was waiting to kill somebody with the. Right. I said, man, you must be crazy, white boy. I'm not telling the people I was going to kill him. No, you gonna see, you trying to keep me in jail. You're not working with me. You're working against me, ain't you? I knew what this is. You know what I'm saying? There's always a white man trying to take a brother down. You know what I'm saying? Come to find out, shit, that nigga wasn't trying. That nigga told me the truth. He say, man, if you go in there and tell me he gonna chase you around with that goofy ass answer, and ain't none of it's gonna make sense, and they gonna send you back to jail. He said, you take the bullet out the gun. He said, hey, what you gonna do? I was waiting to kill him up first chance I got. Right. I bet they won't ask you nothing else because you told them everything they need to know already. Ain't nothing to talk about.
He's smart.
Ain't nothing to talk. I said, yeah, I'm waiting to kill him up, man. First chance I got with the gun. Okay, next question. I said, this white boy knows shit. He knew it. He knew it shit. Yes. But it's true, man. But it goes to minimizing. You see what I'm saying? It goes. That's why, you know, and not just in that situation, in life, period, you can't minimize things because if you do, it justifies you to do some stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? When you hit yourself with the truth, you know what I'm saying? It really makes you say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to do that dumb shit because I don't have to explain being stupid to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, and that's like, you know, at me, how I feel like now, I could never do nothing stupid. I would hate to having to call my grandkids, you know what I'm saying, and say I'm in jail. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. For there's no good reason ever to call them and tell them I'm in jail. No. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a growing up process, man. But so what you been doing since you been home now?
So I got out, and actually I've been blessed. So I kind of had a soft landing. Everybody gets out to different landings. So after 3 decades, you know, I had to really figure the world out, and I'm starting to really. I've been out 4 years. I'm still learning. You know, I tell brothers who coming home, I'm understanding it. We all seeing it different, but any of us that did a certain amount of time can also tell that. You got to almost kind of like relearn the people that you thought you might have knew because you've been gone for a minute in a way, you know what I mean? And so you've been around them now. People you heard about stuff, you know, but you seeing it up close because you either living with them or you went to their spot, you know, you heard certain things, so it's different. But it's been lovely for me. I went to a transitional house for a year right by Cal State LA. I got my bachelor's, so I was able to graduate. I postponed my classes because I was part of a prison, pilot prison bachelor program where the professor from Cal State LA went to that yard that we was talking about, that PPF yard, which stands for Progressive Program Facility, which is not anymore. That was on A yard, Lancaster. They came up there and they taught us college curriculum for a bachelor's because a lot of us. What happened was a lot of us had already had a bunch of our AA degrees through Coastline College, a little correspondence course. You can correspond. Yeah. We had multiple associates, right? Yeah. Like I got one in American Studies, Social Behavior Science, Business, and a business certificate. Yeah. And they was like, well, we're just going to start a BA program. And they got the funding for it, and they did one cohort. I was part of the second cohort, so I was able to pause those classes before I was released and take my last 2 classes at Cal State LA, which is a block away from the little transitional house I stayed in for a year, which was like overlooking the city. It's nestled up, and it's one of the flyest spots. The director of the spot, my first job was at Cal State LA. The next day I was out. Yeah. I had a job there working in a little COVID spot. Yeah. I was passing out swag gear, but the little professor I was working for, they gave me like $20 an hour. And dude at the transitional house said, hey, man, you want to drive trucks? I said, yeah, man, I drive trucks. So he said, man, I'll tell you what, man, you can sign you up for a spot down there in the city of in the city of Commerce. They drive 24/7. I was like, but it was on the train yard. I didn't know this. I said, all right. So he does it on the laptop, and I get accepted. I work at night. He lets me work at night. So my first year out, I drove trucks without a CDLs. at the train yard because you didn't need to drive. As long as you wasn't on the streets, you didn't need to see the L's.
Yeah.
And I drove a little Hosser with the little fifth wheel.
Yeah.
But you taking long 53s, pups, whatever. You getting them from the crane. You getting it was intermodal, and then going to get trailers from you either going to get them parked, taking them to the train track, or going to get them or getting when the train gets unloaded. You're going to take them and parking them.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best jobs I had.
And just coming from
it was like the prison though. It was
wow.
like the pen though, because there was somebody from everywhere that was there. And I seen a gang of homies I was in the pen with, because a lot of people was getting them jobs.
Okay.
I seen little dudes from everywhere, so it was funny. And then it kind of got tiresome too, because I told you I work graveyard, man. Sometimes if you don't get enough sleep, you working graveyard.
Yeah.
You might be. I'm driving trucks. Nah, that ain't a good recipe. And I seen a lot of crazy stuff. But I did that, and then I left that, and I was a Teamsters. So I had union jobs since I've been out.
Okay.
Getting paid once a week.
Now, union hard to get into, ain't it?
It could be, but it's unions out there. Right now, I switched over. So I'm in IBEW Local 47.
Okay.
Currently, I'm not working right now. I'm still in the union, though.
Yeah.
Might get called for another spot in a month. I was doing a fellowship at the Cal State LA. They want me to go to his master's degree program, do something more career orientated. I could do that, but I'm 52 in a minute. And, it's like, what do I want to do? You know.
It's been amazing, though, huh?
It's been amazing, man.
What's been one of the most amazing things since that you got out? I mean, to have a life without, 30 years, thinking you may never come home, and then what is that one amazing thing that you have done that you never thought that you would do?
Damn, what's the one amazing thing thus far? It's been a bunch of them, to be honest with you. But I say traveling, man.
Yeah.
I had never got on an airplane.
Wow.
So as soon as I got off parole, I went to Vegas. The little homie that I was finna go cheat up there a couple times, but my pop's like, nah, don't do it. So I'm all still spooked. Yeah. I'm Spooky J getting out, but that is L-Wop. Like, I don't want to do all right, man. But I could have did it.
Yeah.
So I'll go up there with the little homie that gambled a lot. And so I went to the Aria Hotel, and that had to be one of the most amazing things for the Tank Davis, Davis when he fought Ryan Garcia the first time and beat the boy, and I seen Tank. It was just
it's amazing.
It was amazing up there. First time on the airplane, it was a short flight, but just being at that and then going to meet my pops in Miami Beach, man. When I flew down there, I've been down there a couple times since I've been out. That was amazing.
Pops
too.
out there in Miami Beach now?
Pops is in Florida, man, Port St. Lucie, but he flew me a flight out where I landed, and then we met up, and then we stayed in the Airbnb.
That was cool.
He Airbnbs multiple of his properties out there. My pops got multiple properties, and but we got one down there, and I explored that. Yeah. But that was amazing too, because then we did the Star Island thing, and it was just like, damn, man, after all these years, I'm out. And to see my father that kind of basically seen me in every spot I've been in, man. Send me packages. He used to bring my daughter.
Yeah, I remember.
I never wanted for nothing in ever prison, no nothing. I'm the cat that, like, if you didn't get no package, we'll get a package in your name. Like, you ain't get no box.
Nah, for real. I know for real.
Like, hey, my folks, let me get a box. What you like? And I'll cash you right there. I'll give you whatever you want.
Without a doubt.
You want us to cut whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll cash you out right then and there.
Blessing to be home with
Pops. Pops and them had to tell me to tone it down. So when my last few years, I told I didn't want no parts of no nothing. I let it all go. Like, man, I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't blowing, I cut all that.
Yeah, man, you got to, man.
I got so square, and I didn't want to be around no more clappers. I got cellies that got them. I'm like, hey, man, I don't even want. I can't tap in through that with my folks no more. They not even answering. They banging on me when I got to go to the wall.
And that's when they love you.
And that's when I had to find it out. I had to really get serious. Like, all right, it's gonna be a time where, I'm gonna be out in a minute with a phone, which is all legal, and I ain't got.
You ain't got to go through all that. That's what I.
Now I come out here and they say, what do I notice? I said, oh shit, I noticed everybody looking down like this. What's the first thing you notice getting out? I said, everybody got one of these things. They looking down like this.
Yeah. Everybody.
Driving.
Everywhere.
Somebody
I'm scared to use the phone drive. I do not touch the phone drive.
And these things is listening to you if you ain't knowing.
What you mean? Listen to you.
Start talking about something right now.
And then
start talking about spaceships and stuff about how you like spaceships and lowriders. And you're going to see spaceships and lowriders in your field.
That's right.
If you don't believe me.
No, I believe you.
Start thinking about something.
I believe
Make up
you,
something
man.
off the fly.
No, I believe
Start
you.
saying it out loud.
I believe you. This phone pays a lot of attention.
And see what you start seeing.
And see my phone. See, I came home. My wife gave me this phone. I thought it was an iPhone, but it's a Wii phone. Because whatever I do, we know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you gotta know what you know.
We from France.
It's a Wii phone. Yeah.
We from France. I got you.
Without a doubt. Hey man,
I
you know
got you.
it's amazing sitting there having this interview with you because we walked that yard together.
And
man.
we did walk that yard. That was just this is 2025.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you spoke about an incident and I didn't know that you was there. So we actually was at multiple yards together, and I didn't realize it. Did you realize it? I thought it.
That's why I first initially mentioned it.
Okay, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, because remember everybody used to go hang out in the kitchen.
Which one? The main kitchen.
The main kitchen.
So I worked
hang out and chill.
You don't remember I worked up in there.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at working the day that stuff happened.
I remember that.
I was up there with my boy. That's NC Ren, little brother, my boy Janky. Anyway,
Janky, my dog.
I was up there with Janky.
That's my dog. You seen Janky?
I ain't seen Janky. I wonder what happened to Janky. Every time I see somebody's brother, I think about good dude.
Janky was
solid,
good dude, man.
Out of Compton.
Yeah, he
and
good
just
dude.
solid. Didn't bang.
So good dude.
So
I worked in the kitchen with Janky.
At the time, I got all the love for all the non-affiliates because I feel like that's me. Like we banging NA. This big. We banging NA. Like that's where we got to just come up with something. That's how the prison teaches you.
I like
everybody, So that was my boy, and they didn't let us go down. You know what? And I feel like another thing, man. This is some real talk, and I say this, want to share this, put this on film. Throughout all my time, I've been protected because I've been in situations that was heated.
Oh yeah.
I've been in major riots where people stabbed up, almost lost their life in Salinas Valley, which was the major one where the North Daniels took off on us. I seen multiple homies lose their life. The homie Devil, I was there when he got killed. It just was all kind of situations. I've been saved because of that situation that happened in Tehachapi on my birthday. That was July the 12th, 1999, where I wanted to go to the lower yard with certain individuals from a certain select tribe was walking down towards a massacre, and an angel of a supervisor was like, nah, Rose, you stay up here and rotate the C boxes and the milk and all that. I'm like, man, and I'm mad because I want to go blow with Bomb Pruno, and I'm going to go down there with Jank Dubious and go to the top yard and blow, not knowing we finna have to mob through a massacre with this. There's some dudes waiting on these dudes that's finna blow up. Boom. And I got saved from that, and I was like, damn.
That was one of the coldest things I've seen.
And we got transferred, right? That was one of the coldest things.
That was cold.
And then the stuff in Salinas Valley. So what I'm saying is throughout my time, I've been, when the North Daniels took off, that was ugly too. I was right there. That was B Yard 2010. I was right there on B Yard when that happened, when that kicked off. And that happened for a while. And then Don Moves ended up getting one. But I'm just saying, I've been saved in certain situations. So to get out, and then they had that. So I lost a lot, but I seen a lot, and I've been safe in situations. So I feel like my life got purpose. So living out here now, I'm moving with that. I'm moving towards that drum beat.
Without a doubt, anything else has been civilized, but it's a blessing because you're always gonna lose something. You know what I mean? Even if you was here, you would have lost it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can't. That doesn't change the dynamic.
That don't change it.
You know what I mean? So in life, you're gonna continue to lose at all times. But it's how you it's how you recover. It's how you deal with the things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Things out of it's like to worry about something you can't change is like chasing the wind. You know what I mean? That don't make no sense. You know what I mean?
Sense.
So things that happens for a reason. That's like, I lost my son, you know what I mean, when I was in there 7 months before I got ready to parole, I lost my son, you know what I mean? So if you sit back and be like, man, that's right. That's so shit. But it's life, you know what I mean?
Life.
And you take that and you grow from it, you know what I mean? And he left me, his daughter, you know what I mean, my granddaughter, and man, that's one of the greatest blessings, that I take from him. He ain't here, but he left me something just as precious. You know what I mean? So, the fact that we here now and we can rewrite, and be in people's lives that we can be in it, because they can't be in everybody's lives. You know what I mean? Just because these people, you know what I'm saying, and they family by blood. A lot of a lot of people we really didn't know.
Right.
We just knew of them. You know what I mean? Because we've been separated for all our lives away from these people. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I ain't seen you 30 years. I really don't know you. You understand what I'm saying? I just know of you. But, you know, coming back, you know, it's been a real blessing, man. And I'm glad to see you out, because I remember, you know, we walked them stoops together, and I remember when you was at that moment, you know, like, man, I'm never coming out. So, you know, I'm here, you know, let's do it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know, and it was like, so to see you make that transformation, man.
You seen
get
me
out
there.
Of here, man.
Yeah, you seen me there, man. That's funny, because I was there, man. I was stuck for a minute, and, you know, and that was before I went to that A-yard.
Yeah. And I remember, I used to tell you, like,
you know, we was working in them kitchen. That's when we was working in that kitchen, going through that stuff on D-yard.
Yes, sir.
And you know, at that time, though, it's funny, because when you're around them certain stoops in them certain areas, certain policies derive how y'all carry yourself, and it's, you know, not until we got to the other yard that, you know, did we see some change.
Yeah, no, and it was perfect, man.
It's like, oh, this makes sense. This other stuff don't make sense. We over here crashing, going backwards.
We was over there. I got A-yard, man. I was like, but see, A-yard is the introduction to coming home. It teaches you the best way by being in prison about being free as you can be in the penitentiary without being a weenie. You know what I'm saying? Without being on SCR, SNY, and all that other bullshit. That was the yard, man. You can just never did you have to walk out and think, oh, it's gonna be some bullshit. No, because when I first got to the yard and I seen the brother and the white boy fight, and then the brother and the Mexican just fight, and that was it. I said, head up, look at God, I done made it. Yeah. This is it right here, Jack. This is it. No, this is because any other was a ride.
It's right.
I was still confused. I was like,
no,
I ain't getting down yet. Hold on.
No, you ain't got to do that.
I'm not getting down. Hold on. Okay.
None of that.
It's just y'all two fighting? Okay, I'm going to get down.
This is
now.
really, and what he's talking about is for real, with how it would go down.
Yeah.
And you would be like, what?
I seen that. I knew I had made it. I saw, shit, it's a part. And it was like, resume. I was like,
resume.
Oh, this is shit, dog.
Are people walking dogs?
I wish a white boy would say something to me now.
Walking dogs in shower shoes.
Dogs in shower shoes.
Walking dogs around there in shower shoes.
Hey, it was that world, though.
Like, damn, they actually walking their dogs. You know, they had a dog program there where they was actually rescuing dogs that they was going to euthanize. So that kind of resonated with the dudes. Like, give us them dogs. And they was training them, making them service dogs.
Same
having dogs in their cells, having their cells open. It went from like, I seen that program go from maybe 7 dogs to damn near 70 dogs.
Yeah, I seen they had the whole section.
Took
the whole section, all dogs.
I didn't get involved in the dog program now because I was in the school program.
Yeah, I didn't get no dogs either.
You know what I mean? But still.
I didn't want nothing.
A lot of dudes out here right now successful, and so like Woody Airwood was on CBS.
He got his own business.
Jerry Brown got his own business.
I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna
bring Airwood up in here.
I'm gonna bring him up in here, man.
That's one of my mentors too. So it's guys like that.
Second white bar hug. Yes,
it's one of my white, and I hugged him too.
Yes, sir.
And he got a black wife though too.
Got a black wife, yeah.
Got a black wife.
Yeah.
He got a black. It's a trip though. He got a black wife.
He got a black wife.
That's what he do.
Yeah, he got a black wife now. Can't you take that? And he white as all.
He white as all. Motorcycle, Hell's Angel, but
he
cool. But see, this is
cool to death.
This is what that yard did too. It
made good friends out of people, man.
You know, I never forget, man. I seen you one day, man, and I try to get at you like on the same tip, like we was on Delta, right?
Yeah.
And without saying too much of nothing, right? You hit me with, man, I ain't doing nothing. I'm on some. You told me like you was on this path. Basically, I received that message like I ain't about that life no more. I'm on this path. I'm trying to go home, homie. Right? And then I heard you, and then a little bit while after that, you did it because you've been home now. How long?
See, I've been home be 9 years. December.
So it's been 9.
Yeah, December
4 for me. But in my mind, this was just yesterday with me and him. It's funny because this a second ago we just was on D-yard tripping. You was a little lighter. I was a little lighter.
I walked out on that yard right there, man.
You know, I can remember walking by your house in the morning because we went to work. Remember, Rilo come to get you. I can remember coming to get you for work early in the morning when Cody, who is now retired, the CO, who I still communicate with, we friends on Facebook. Yes, right? He's married to a little Asian lady up there, and he still he would let us out.
Yeah.
And I could just remember that, like, damn, seemed like that was just yesterday. It's just how time flies, man.
Time flies, man. Got it. Hey, this has been a hell of an interview, man. Like I said, I always, love interviewing all the brothers, but especially one, I done walked the yards with, and we got some real history together, you know what I mean? So look, hey, want to thank y'all for tuning in. Another episode 6. Like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody that this is the new show, you know what I mean? It's popping, got some very positive things going on. Talk to some very positive people, man. So listen, peace out. Thank y'all for tuning in. Episode 7 be coming up soon. Out.
Peace.
Yes, sir.